my name is Rachel and I'm here today to do the last 10 books tag. So this is a tag created by Marc Nash, which I will link down below. And I found this on Dane Reed's channel. I will link both of those videos down below, they are great, go watch them. But it just seemed like a fun tag to do. I am going to be looking down at my phone a lot because I have the questions on it. But yeah, I just thought it was a fun video to do today, so that is what I'm going to do. Question number 1 is the last book you didn't finish, and I'm officially doing it. This is Artemis by Anduia that I haven't picked up since New Year's Eve, but I have such a hard time saying I'm DNFing things that I just haven't DNF'd it, but I'm officially taking the book back out and it's going on the get rid of pile because this book was terrible. I hated this book. I hated the narrative style. It was so simplistic. It was just loads of exposition that wasn't like put into the text properly. Oh no. Question number 2 is the last book you reread. This is a current read for me and it is North End Rabbit by Jane Austen. I read this when I was at university and I'm currently reading all of Jane Austen's works and this is the one I'm up to, and I am about 50 pages into it and I'm really enjoying it and glad that I'm reading it. Question number 3 is the last book that you bought, and I think the last book I bought was Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I do have this at home. I was quite annoyed that I bought it, but when I was at home I was going to pick it up because Kate from Books and Things is doing a read-along for the next like year and a half. I'll link it down below. So I really wanted to pick this up, but when I was at home I went to pick it up and I couldn't bring myself to bring it with me. My girlfriend got me this antique set, I think it was the Christmas before this one, of all Charles Dickens' works, which is so beautiful, but I am so scared of taking it in a suitcase. I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I ended up just buying one of the cheap Penguin copies, which I hate because when the spines break they always go white and it really annoys me. However, books here are just like mega floppy, so maybe it won't actually break because it opens really easy. So that's the last book I bought. Question number 4 is the last book you said you read but you didn't. I don't do this now, however at university I did this all the time. I said I read everything and I didn't. I said I finished Dracula but I could never ever get to the end of it. I think I got 50 pages off the end when I was at university and just could not finish it. I hated it. I said I read loads of stuff in my Renaissance class. Like we had to read like Elizabeth I speeches and loads of sonnets, but if I read the first sonnet and it was boring I would not make myself read the rest of them, because I think anyone who's done any sort of English at school or at A-level or anything like that has said they've read books they've not, because all the books that they mention are not going to be in the genres you're interested in and everyone has their own personal taste, so when you are told to read books it's like no. So, yeah, I did not always read them, basically. Question number 5 is the last book you wrote in the margins of. This is a current read for me, and it is Body Positive Power by Megan Jane Crabbe, or Body Posy Panda on Instagram. I always write in the margins of like books like this, just a bit. So I've wrote in this, I wrote in Turtles All the Way Down because I had like a project I wanted to do on it. I wrote in The Beauty Myth. Whenever it's like feminism books, I always write in the margin because I'm reading them to educate myself. So like I want to consume it like I would have done at school, and at school I always wrote in them and highlighted them. So yeah, that's the one I'm currently doing that with anyway. Question number 6 is the last book you had signed. Now I can't remember which one it is. So, last year I went to a talk by Yaa Gyasi for homegoing and I had my book signed, but I also went to one by Sarah Moss and she signed The Tidal Zone, Science for Lost Children and Night Waking, and I'm not sure which one of those was the last one that I went to. It might be the Sarah Moss one, but yeah, they're the last books I had signed anyway. Question number 7 is the last book you lost, and I can't remember losing a book ever, which I feel is weird. I must have lost a book at some point, but I can't remember ever losing one. The only time I've got close is that my mum lent some of my Suki Stackhouse books to a friend, one of the teachers at her school, and she never returned them, but I replaced them, so yeah. That's the only time I can remember, but I didn't really lose them, someone just didn't return them, so. Question number 8 is the last book you had to replace. For this, I'm going to say Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So I didn't have to replace this. I do have copies of it at home, but the thing was I was reading this on audiobook, and then as Pip got older and it started talking about the law and politics more, I wanted to actually be reading a copy of it instead of listening to it on audiobook, because there was a bit too much going on and there was like loads more characters introduced and stuff. So I'm hoping to continue it in the actual physical format instead. Question number 9 is the last book you had an argument over. So I have many for this. The first one is Great Expectations. My girlfriend has this Penguin English Library copy, and we have so many of the same copies of books. We both have like War of the Worlds. Like, we always want to collect editions, but we both do it, and then we talk to each other and realise we both have the books that we're buying. So when she saw this, she was like, why did you buy that? I have that. Why didn't you ask me before you bought it? That happens a lot. Also, had an argument over Red Rising with my best friend because I bought it for her birthday in October and she's still not read it. So I was like, why are you not reading it? Sort it out. I also bought her The Beard That Was Evil, and she loves graphic novels and she's still not read it. So yeah, I think I argued with her a bit over those. And then also, this is my girlfriend's book, Democracy Alive by Paul Cartledge, and I just started reading this, and I didn't ask her first, and I think that she wanted to read it, and she's a bit annoyed that she can't have it now because I'm reading it. But at the same time, I think she wants to talk to me about it, so it's fine. They're the last books I argued with someone over. The last question is the last book you couldn't get a hold of. So I don't have this so much, but there are a few. The first one is that the only vintage Russian classics that they have in the bookshop are the 3 that I already own, so I can't buy any more of those. They also don't have the vintage classics of the Bronte books, so I have all the Austen ones, and I want the Bronte ones because they look beautiful as well, but they don't have them in the bookshop here, unfortunately. They're the only times I can think that I've kind of not been able to get hold of a book recently. Being in a foreign country, that is likely to happen often, so yeah. That was the last 10 books tag. I will link down below the original creator and Dane's channel and the video and all that stuff, so you can go check them out because they were great, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!